Hello, welcome back to the channel. Um, Welcome new subscribers. Thank you for your comments on the last couple of videos. I really value those. It's lovely to have you here. So, there's some quite dark and heavy energy in the field. And I've been working with this for a few days and thinking it was a personal process, and suddenly it segues into the collective. So I'm going to bring it in the hope that it throws some light on what might be going on for you guys. And I think I'm going to call it The Dark King Rises. Okay, so I'm going to start with my notes and we'll walk through it and then pull some cards and see what's happening. Okay, so after some personal work and energy shifting last week, I started experiencing symptoms last Thursday after a sleepless night of just downloads, high-pitched downloads. And what I started experiencing was extreme hypertension, which is very odd in my world. I have low blood pressure. I don't suffer from high blood pressure at all. And this was horrible, horrible. Extreme hypertension, dizzying, arrhythmia. So these moments where my heart was beating so out of sync that I could feel myself just going up and out of my crown and having to pull myself back. Palpitations, and then actually hearing my heart beat in my brain. It was so loud. It felt very masculine, powerful and overwhelming, and the energy was from solar plexus to higher heart. So it took me 3 days of breath and body work to move it through my system. And yesterday it all broke and it's smooth. I can walk. So I've been holding this ball of Kundalini, trying to move it through, and it will only go when it's ready. And yesterday everything popped. So I feel lighter, much, much lighter today. So I hope I can throw some of that light onto this field. So I did a reading yesterday, which was very interesting. Okay. So I'll start with the underlying card so you can see what was coming through. So the two underlying cards are, so these are from my private decks. You won't have seen these before. This is from the Arthurian Tarot, and this is from the Celtic Oracle. So these two cards, as the underlying story, are bringing through an ancient stone circle becoming a place for a new gathering. So this is speaking about building a new foundation. The great work, sharing of material success, patronage, gratitude. And a question that came through was, what do I have to share? And the tree spirit is obviously strength, growth, stability, but speaks to foundation and roots, slow and steady, no rushing, which speaks to the feminine flow state and moving with the chaos of the field. Okay. The central card in the reading is the gift. And it's coming in on that 7, which suggests it's a hidden gift. Or something that's been buried and is going to be revealed, speaks to revelation. Communication, gifts, other realms, and elementals coming online. Okay. And then we go to the 3 cards that inform the reading, which are the cauldron. Okay, so again, this is speaking to a place of the mixing of new ingredients, alchemy held by the feminine. And it's coming in on the temperance. Okay, it's coming in on temperance energy. So speaks to harmonious fusion. Okay, so we have new elementals coming online. Personally, for 2 to 3 weeks now, I've been working with a new expression of dragon energy, and it's been extremely powerful. Okay, moderation, compatibility, alchemical recombination of resource or potential, blending or merging with a new idea, balanced living. Questions: what am I planning? Which concepts are meeting and melding right now? Okay, so it sounds like a new fusion, a new blending of energies and aspects, a remaking. And then at the top of the reading comes the Green Knight, which speaks to devil energy. Okay. This story in the book, I won't read it, but the story in the book is about the beheading of the king. And it's about the humility to bow and be beheaded. It was a game. Speaks to ignorance, self-limitation, inflexibility, unconscious fears realized. There's some deep shadow coming up with this. Stagnation. I'm getting the illusion of that which is green. The illusion of that which is green and represents the heart space, the taking by the masculine of the heart space. Okay, tune into your body as I'm doing this, so my heart is responding to that. Get the word defiled. Crown of Thorns. Thank you. Creative possibilities ignored, which speaks to the king that takes rather than cooperates, collaborates, builds, shares, explores, grows. Questions: what fear obstructs my life? What creative possibilities are resurfacing? And the reading is completed with the Tower. Okay, so there's big change, big changes going on. The realization of limitations. This is the humbling of the king. Liberation from outworn concepts, expulsion of poison, loss of security, transfiguration. Questions: what is breaking down and what needs to go? And I also pulled 2 cards from the herbal astrology deck, which were Mitraginia, which speaks to shape-shifting. Okay, and we have transfiguration coming in with the Tower. And this is, I can never remember what that symbol is. So this is Neptune, and this is, bear with me, I want to share this with you. Saturn. Where did it go? Yeah. So if we're talking about Saturn in Neptune, we're definitely talking about Saturn in Pisces at the moment. So that's going to assist with the remaking of this king energy. And to support that, we have the blossoming of the rose coming in with Venus energy, love. Okay. Are you with me so far? Let me just take a drink. And I'm noticing that my throat chakra is getting very croaky. So after I'd processed all of that yesterday, I finished off my breath and body work and moved this energy through. And I'm literally scratching, I was literally just sat scratching my head. And as I scratched my head, I heard the word manubrium. What? Manubrium. Okay. So the manubrium is where this all reaches into the collective. Okay. The manubrium is the sternum, the breastplate, the point of profound vulnerability and protection and courage and bravery, hubris, bravado, and the Dark King is what I get. So the sternum looks like a tie. Okay, so we have the manubrium up here. And then we have the body, the gladiolus, and the xiphoid process, which is the bottom of the tie. And that all goes from the solar plexus to the higher heart. And it holds the rib cage together. It is literally the breastplate. Okay, that's the physical bit. Now for the metaphysical bit. Manubrium turns out to be a fixed star in the constellation of Sagittarius. It is linked with explosions, fire, flaring heat, heroism, courage, and defiance. It is of the nature of the Sun and Mars, fearless, intolerant, warlike, skill, overconfident, fierce, cruel, vindictive, energetic, organizer, danger to the eyes, accidents, violent death. Okay. Associated with Sun and Mars, here we meet the king, the lion, and the wild horse energy. So I think 2 or 3 videos, or 4 or 5 videos ago, I said the masculine is coming online. And I've had my eye on Leo season for months now. Okay. The fixed star manubrium is located within the constellation of Sagittarius at the point where the centaur pulls back the bow to its fullest extent and maximum tension. Question, do we hold this tension from a place of considered poise, or are we merely waiting to let loose our arrows of rage? Okay, so as the centaur pulls back the bow, this here is the manubrium, the fixed star. And to quote the Lion King, yes, there is an astrologer called the Lion King. But the same planetary simile is, of course, symbolic of the fatal potency in the hand that may at any moment release the arrow into flight. Okay. Fatal potency. To kill the potency of another by making it bend to the king's will. The taking of personal potency in the serving of the king. To find a major planet in a chart very precisely on manubrium rather than its neighbours, it's likely to show up more aggressive connotations of the constellation and sign. So we find less of the philosopher than high performance athlete or the high court judge. The military strategist is also likely to have this star strong. Manubrium rules back of the left knee at the center. So king, lion, wild horse energy. So look where, so I've got manubrium in my fixed stars. Have a look where it is in yours. And we're in Gemini season and Sagittarius is opposite Gemini. Okay. Gemini wants us to think like a twin, in shadow and in light, in what is hidden and what is present, and to create harmony and balance. So then I go to the current astrology today, 26th of June, and it will last. This energy is going to be around for a bit. So Manubrium is Omicron, which is part of the constellation of Sagittarius. Manubrium is currently at 15 degrees of Capricorn in Western astrology. Also at 15 degrees of Capricorn is Vega, another fixed star of the Lyra constellation, or the lyre. Lyre as in small musical harp. So we're talking about sound, melody, harmonization, harmony. The brightest fixed star of the northern sky has a Venus nature with a blend of Neptune and Mercury. The Babylonians called Vega the star of the Queen of Life. So we have the king and the queen conjunct in Capricorn, in Western. In a good configuration, Vega is supposed to give artistic talent, especially for music and acting. So we're talking about expression, but also a liking for good living. Then we're talking about abundance and resource. Yeah. With eccentric artists, this may lead to a debauched life. So if we take it too far, do we move into that shadow king and take and take and take? Bacchus energy. And moving with the theme that the distinctions between astrological disciplines are melting and integrating into pure form energy, I then move to today's sidereal chart. And there I see the opposition that's powering up this conjunction. Remember, I'm not an astrologer. I just move with the energy and I like to mix. So in sidereal astrology, we actually have Venus and Mars in the house of Cancer, which is the root, the family, the foundation. What else do we have? Yeah, Sun in Gemini. So yeah, keep your eye on Leo season. That will start at the end of July and go to the end of August. So that completes the notes. So I'm going to put these cards, no, I'm going to leave them out actually to keep the energy here. I'm going to have a drink. We'll start with Black Moon astrology. And let's invite a conversation in. And let's bring this dark king in, see what's happening. And when I talk about king, queen, I'm not talking about men and women. I'm talking about the energy that is within us. So there's a card that's turned that wants to hide. I don't know what it is. Yeah, of course. So this is about shared contracts, shared resource, as opposed to the second house, which is personal resource. Okay. Contracts, entanglements, enmeshment, endings and beginnings. Underlying energy. So something is being cut away here. It is being made present. The light will be shining on it and it will be cut away. So we already have the tower on the table. The dark feminine. So my throat chakra is activating with this dark feminine, learning to find her words, learning to find her expression and to raise her spear, sword. My foot is tapping. She's impatient. Yeah, yeah. She wants to growl, but can she play the lyre instead? Can she sing and create music? Powerful music. Provocation. Okay. Does she hold the arrow in poise, or does she just let it go in provocation? And you're going to feel it in the body. Okay. So King, Aries, masculine, fire, solar plexus coming online. It's for all of these alignments, there will be a physical effect. No doubt about it. You're going to feel it in the body. You're going to feel it in the body. Okay. Yep. That's lovely. All right. To the surrender cards, and I'm being shown what is it going to help masculine to release, and what is it going to help feminine to release, surrender to as we surrender to the truth of what we are. Masculine, feminine. Feminine gets 2, masculine is 1. No, that's interesting. So self-esteem is built on the things you have. Self-esteem is built on the part of the personality that projects through material abundance. The car you drive, the job you have, the suits you wear, the clothes you wear, whatever, self-esteem. Self-worth is built on values and beliefs. So if we're talking about king energy and we're talking about self-esteem, I had a vision this morning when I was writing those notes. So I did some, I'm working with lavender at the moment. And I'm using lavender to balance this temporal shift. And so I've just put lavender on my hands, and then I bring the energy of lavender in to balance these timelines. And then I was guided to put my hands on my shoulders. And as I did that I heard a question about, I wonder actually who was supporting the king. I wonder what was supporting a sensitive king whose only expression could be toxic masculinity. I wonder where the hand in the small of his back was. So, masculine is speaking to low self-esteem. Just wow. Does it get any more feminine? Effortlessness speaks straight to you will know, and what you know is going to challenge what you've been told or what you've set up your circuitry to believe and value. So the feminine, wow. Okay, that was a little out of body moment. I'll read the words. Stop pushing so hard. The art of living means going with the flow instead of trying to force the river. And that might feel terrifying because there may be pressure on that feminine receptive aspect of us to do and create and make. What's the word? What's validation? To be validated by what she does rather than what she is, rather than her sense of beingness and receptivity. And where is the respect for the field that the feminine can sense? Has she lent into her masculine for too long? Intuition, tune into your inner voice. That's the Lilith voice, the inner voice. So Lilith is a mathematical point in astrology, which speaks to the part of the feminine that is most in shadow. I wonder if there's a masculine equivalent to that point. I'd be interested to know. If anybody knows, do feel free to share it. Be aware of gut feelings, flashings, knowings, or aha moments that come through to guide you, and act on them. And act on them, and then you have the bridge to the masculine. So within the holistic being is the feminine sensory receptivity, hands off to the masculine, who is waiting to build. Okay, that's flow. That's how we manifest. But there's interruption. Let's look into this interruption of the handoff. And it's to do with burdens and obligations, it feels like immediately. But let's see what comes out. I'm going to go to the shaman deck now. Wow. Just noticing I feel sick. Yeah. Wow. I might have to disappear and quickly ground because I'm going out of body here. That's what's stopping me. We had that the other day. Beware the gag order. So there's a real sickness in my throat. I'm going to keep going. Yeah, fuck it. I'm going to keep going. Okay, let's put this. So I'm going to put the masculine on this side, the feminine on this side, and the gag order in the middle. Tell me more. Tell me more. And 14.5 as well is about, so 14.5 is the higher mind, and that wants to get built and express in the light of truth. My numerology teacher affectionately calls 14.5 as the word of God. And it is that aligned truth that isn't attached to outcome. Thank you. Attached to outcome, attached to the reaction. That's the letting go of the arrow in truth. Where it lands, it lands. That's where the feminine hands off to the field, or the field hands off to the aligned human being. Tell me more. Thank you. Yeah, I'm getting Lyra coming in now saying, sing it. Sing it. Oh, yeah, maybe. Oh. Okay. Feminine as hunter. There's something about a division and a boundary. Right, I'll show you what I'm doing without even thinking about it. I'm using the corner of this card to re-emphasize that line, like I'm scratching it into the ground. And what I'm sensing is something about the dissolving of the boundary between the masculine and the feminine, so they flow in and out of one another. I'm just wondering what happens. So that is very, very soothing. Very soothing. The infinity sign over the throat chakra is very soothing. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, that's changing my whole field. It's balancing. Thank you. That's lovely. Tell me more. This is fascinating. Underlying card. Okay, let's look at these. Before speaking to those, there's an underlying message here. Look. So, arrow takes flight with the vision of the eagle. Big picture. It's not about me. Bringing the lower world up as learning, as responsibility, as action through learning. This is commitment to not do it again. And so witnessing the learning of where magic has been damaged and bringing that into the middle world. Major rebirth into the middle world where you will have choice, not bound by a system that wants it in a certain way. Masculine fire coming online to make magic. So it's almost like we have the feminine and the masculine expression of magic. This is beautiful harmony. This is beautiful harmony, absolute divine union. Earth, earth, earth. Okay, so that's the underlying story. This is what's going to be birthed, and I get 6 months at least until the end of the year. We've got Venus retrograde, and it's going to be challenging. It looks beautiful, doesn't it? It's going to be challenging when Venus goes retrograde next month. That really is going to challenge the feminine to rise without the self-indulgence, to rise without the old archaic story of withering. Nice word. Okay, back to the current. This is linked to the throat. So before I started doing that, when I was doing this, I saw the double helix. And 56 is coming in on DNA. I get the words release the hounds of war. And again, there's the manubrium warning of when you pull your arrow back, is it going to fly in truth, or is there an ulterior motive that serves the self? Look at this. Oh, just look. So if we imagine this as a strand of DNA that is going to plant, then that's going to call to absolute diligence, staff, bringing the higher world and grounding it in, being out and being in, all at the same time, straight. Where? I'm just going to take a pause here. And even taking a pause in the world that we live in might be triggering, because we might want to fill that space with noise. But how can we sit in the silence and the dignity of a unified masculine and feminine? If we're talking about unified masculine and feminine, we are definitely talking about serpent bearer energy. Ophiuchus is the balancing of the masculine and feminine, the healing of the helix within. Okay, where am I going? Yeah. No, let's go to, okay. Okay, right. So I've got a deck of cards. I've got a couple of decks of cards standing up, and I just accidentally caused one to split in two and fall open, and it's fallen open on this. Okay. So if we go to the archetypes, and let's see what archetypes are being revolutionized. So the destroyer, releasing what is potentially destructive and preparing for a new life. You know, and again, guys, I want to say pace, take your time. Because part of the masculinity that has done so much damage in its insecurity is the pressure, the productivity addiction, the self-esteem confused for self-worth. Okay, so think of this as the tower cards. We have two tower cards on the table. Shadow aspect, intoxication with destructive power. That's king energy. Destroying others' dreams or potential. That's king energy. Okay, so that is going to be revolutionized. And I guess, you know, as we're walking into the age of Aquarius, we are definitely talking about the collective mind, the expression of the collective mind, the higher mind, the genius mind that wants to bring through ingenuity on a coding that won't be normal, safe, recognized. Holding that point of potentiality, knowing that you're as different as shit in that moment, and holding that indignity of the aligned masculine and feminine. And trusting the intuition. Brilliant. Wow. Thank you. Look how much the cards have got to say today. They are joining in the party more. What else? So now I'm getting a headache. My head feels really fuzzy. I get the word bewildered, bewildering, the bewildering wants and needs of adults that aren't necessarily raising the child, but projecting their unmet needs onto the child. I always say, 12-12, whose authority? I always say it's the child that raises the adult if the adult allows the humbling. And that's what breaks the karmic wheel. That ends the karmic cycle. So, wounded child, light attributes, awakens compassion and desire to serve other wounded children, opens the learning path of forgiveness. Not sure I hold with that, but take what you will and leave what doesn't serve. Shadow, blames all dysfunctional relationships on childhood wounds, resists moving on through forgiveness. Can we say through growth, realization, integration, upliftment, alchemy, transmutation? I just keep throwing words at it. So, wounded child. So if we put destroyer and wounded child together, is that what I want to do? Do I want to clap? Do I want to applaud? Is that what I want to do? Let's have a card to link those two. Have a card to link the destroyer with the child, please. If we're talking child and Aquarius, we are talking visionary. Okay. But mummy, I see. Don't be silly. Ah, thank you. Right. Right. Listen, okay, another part of my personal work is, by coincidence, while I was doing this, moving this dark, heavy king energy through my body with 3 days of breath and body work, on Saturday, I almost forgot, I had workmen in to rebuild a fence in the back garden. And one of these workmen was telling me about a news story he'd heard about school facilitating the free expression of the child. Okay. So this one child had spoken up and said, "Today I want to be a cat." My little heart leapt for joy because I just think that's magical. And his king energy completely poo-pooed it and ridiculed it and said, and then the kid said, "I want to express as a cat." And the kid just was allowed to meow all day. Okay. So the limited masculine in this beautiful guys, two lovely, lovely guys. So it's like I was being held in process by coincidence by two brawny men building a fence. And here we have the visionary, the kid that wants to express as a cat. Okay, light attribute, the capacity to envision what is not yet conceivable to others. I cannot conceive of you as a cat. Willingness to proclaim a vision without regard for personal gain or validation, and to be fearless of judgment. Shadow, selling insights to the highest bidder, compromising your vision to make it more acceptable. That's the adapted child. New beginning, a new beginning. Wow. Light attribute, maintaining symbolic purity of heart and spirit, which is another fusion point. Spirit as the activating principle to all life, the force that moves everything into animation. Shadow, fear of intimate union. So here we're talking about the intimate union between the masculine and the feminine, the intimate union of intuition, spirit, gut. Okay, it's the new hunter coming online. Elevation of the masculine fire. Nose is itching like mad. I've had hay fever for the first time in like 20 years. Underlying. Really, this is massive. Where do I stop? It's like 20 cards here. Okay, we stop there, don't we? Bear with me. Let me just... Oh, okay. It is a big underlying. Right. Oh my God. This is church, state, and school coming out here. Let's whiz through these as a story and notice what gets triggered in your body. Notice what thoughts come in, what visions come in. Okay, so student. Light attribute, humility and devotion to knowledge. Shadow, arrogance in the pursuit of destructive knowledge. Prince, romantic charm. Is that a light attribute? Romance is illusion. Shadow, using power for self-aggrandizement. Shapeshifter, that's the second time. We have 2 shapeshifter cards now on the table. Skill at navigating through different levels of consciousness. Shadow, projecting images. Projecting any image that serves your personal agenda. Priest. Beggar. The beggar begs for, what's the word? Redemption and salvation. The priest violates the trust of the spiritual community. Wow. The healing of the alchemical process of, we got romance again, okay, the Don Juan. Using the power of romantic attraction for private agendas. And in the seeking of love, you know. Lust is not love. That's, wow. Alchemist, misuse of power. So that's being uplifted. So there's like 3 or 4 different concepts here that are being uplifted. So the alchemist and the healer are coming in to uplift this Don Juan, this seducer, the seducer. The promised land that I get. Thank you. Wow. So here we have the gambler and the bully. The cost sometimes of not taking a gamble is that that wise person will be bullied. 1221, the opposite. The mirror. And I guess we could bring the Don Juan in again here to go with the gambler, because we've got using the power of romantic attraction for private agenda and relying on luck rather than hard work. So not coming from a place of integrity, coming from self-esteem, from the clothes and the personality, coming from the personality, taking a gamble. Bully, conceals deep fears behind verbal or physical abuse. Okay, right. Listen, if I read all of these, I'm going to be here all day. So let me show you this. That's the Virgin card. Stuck. Stuck like glue. Yeah, absolutely. So purification is what that's giving me. That Virgin card is giving me purification. Okay. So these are the energies that are coming through in the underlying story. Mystic or slave. Yeah, God, that's so liberator energy, judgment, guide energy coming in to mend all of this miswiring of the circuitry. Is this where it is? This is where I said it's going to ramp. It's going to ramp. As all because listen, the experience is finished. Oh, servant. Servant was there as well. Hidden under the judge. Wow. So make of this all, let your thoughts go where they're going to go. Let your energy flow into the reality of truth. All right? That's the biggest underlying I have ever pulled. But this is big energy. So to recap, the masculine king is going to be learning how to surrender to low self-esteem, to own that, because that's going to dethrone him. It's going to dethrone the egoic expression of masculinity. The I'm big, you're small. I win, you lose. The duality of masculinity rather than the integration. And the feminine is going to surrender to effortlessness. Stop trying so hard. Ask yourself, what are you trying to prove? Surrendering to intuition at a much deeper level. I mean, surrender to intuition has been coming out, what, for the whole year? And we have wounded child, destroyer, and virgin coming out as those three to support that. Amazing. Okay, I'm going to go Sacred Rebels, and then we'll think about wrapping it up. Okay, let's start wrapping this up, please. Tell you, this solstice, I've never known a solstice like it, ever. Yeah. Underlying, restore and replenish. And I know I speak ad nauseum about what's your relationship with rest. Not as I do sit down, not as I go to bed early. Rest, rest, surrender, complete surrender. Rest is where we put down our burdens. Rest is where we put down our obligations and allow ourselves to rebirth. Allow cellular intelligence to take over and begin the mending process so we're not in the way. It's very organic. Build the new temple. Again, within, building the new temple of self-love. Paint yourself in your own colors, nobody else's, balancing the light and the shadow. Revealing what's hidden. So speaking about the word of God earlier, the word wants to be written. Express, express, express. Yeah. Immediately, this is taking me to galactic alignment, because what's happening here is happening there, is happening there, all the way out, because there is no separation. And so it might be that new guides are coming online. It might be that intuition goes to a manubrium level. That as downloads go, that's one of the most bonkers downloads I've ever had. Another one was the maxillary sinus, but that's one for another day. Okay. And what that's guiding is don't question it, listen, just listen. Yeah. For those with the eyes to see, you will be shown the truth, and it may conflict with everything you currently believe. That. All right, let's wrap this up, please, with a cheeky abundance card underlying. Okay, let's wrap this up. Yeah. So these usually go hand in hand. I've got two towers on the table, and it may be the letting go of perception, the letting go of belief, the letting go of shame and burdens. And at that level of release, then, like I say, cellular intelligence takes over, the somatic process begins, and the grief is released from the body where it's been stored. Okay. So having the humility to just surrender to it is really going to help. And the mind might get in the way. Again, everything is a balancing. It's all a balancing. What else came out? Yeah. When the ego finally sees the utter madness of trying to control everything, it comes to a sacred crossroads in its own evolution. Self-love. This is all, we've already said these. Look at this. Look at this. Okay. So, yes, the Dark King rises is what I'm going to call it. I hope this has been useful in some way. I welcome your comments and feedback. Please like, share, and subscribe and help the channel grow. I'm going to leave you with my love and blessings for this time of profound change. Take care, guys. See you soon. Bye.